What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and welcome to my X-Force Deadpool review. This will of course be the first of three, and the graphic is brought to you by Hayden at Insidious Productions. Now, like with all the other alternate costumes, X-Force Deadpool comes in both his previous class and a brand new one. His new class happens to be a blaster, which is both a benefit and also a drawback. It's great because of the attack boost that it will apply to your hero bonus, while at the same time being difficult to use because of all the great tacticians that are out there. But still, with that being said, we're going to buy the blaster costume first. For the most part, when buying an alternate costume, I like to go with the new class first. This generally just gives you more options, especially when it comes to team building. Now, the Uncanny X-Force Deadpool has something called Free Candy. Allied Uncanny X-Force members gain Boonbuster on single target attacks. Boonbuster causes increased damage against targets with strengthened, fortified, focused, agile, shield, or regen effects. The more buffs the target has, the more damage you'll get. So that's certainly a pretty powerful passive ability, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we're doing the PvP battles. For now, I want to show you exactly how I ISO 8 the new X-Force Deadpool. First, I went with Forceful, and I used 4 slots of it. That's attack, defense, and accuracy. Then I went with 4 times Bulky. That is just attack and defense. And I feel pretty good about that setup. It should work out quite well, and I do like to focus on attack and defense. At least for PvP. It is different if you want to do something for PvE, or possibly a balanced approach. For that, you can socket ISO to kind of balance out his not so great stats. Whatever you feel most comfortable with. Now for E-ISO, this is kind of a tough situation because he has 2 very good character-specific empowered ISO 8. He has Savory, which you can see here, and it really is an amazing E-ISO itself. And then he has Spicy. It's also incredibly good and provides a resurrection effect. So this, I have to say, is another drawback to using the Uncanny X-Force Deadpool. The original costume allows you to use both E-ISO, but this one forces you to make a choice. And for that choice, I really had a tough time, and I went back and forth, but I do decide to go with Spicy. It came down to me being more worried about him staying alive, and I figured if he's going to protect more often, then that could be kind of bad, at least without his Spicy E-ISO resurrect effect. That doesn't mean I won't change it up later, but this is what I'm going with at first. Then for A-ISO, I really didn't worry about it too much right now, and that's because I didn't want to spend too much CP before I bought all the costumes. But basically you can go with increased damage or whatever you have laying around. Now right away we're facing a team that has 3 tacticians, and we have that blaster Deadpool. He's going to be giving the other team tactical maneuvers and an extra turn to take us down. This really shows one of this costume's major weaknesses, but you could go with the Scrapper Alternate instead. In that case, you're kind of trading Boonbuster for one of his E-ISO slots. This can be an alright trade, especially if the other team has those finest hour buffs. There certainly are a lot of neurotropes out there, and then characters like Sandman, Hercules, Heimdall, Wonder Man, and the list goes on. Boonbuster, as you'll hopefully see, really does increase your damage by a lot. Truthfully, this is why I think that even with the drawbacks, Deadpool has the second best alternate costume. Also, since his costume is limited edition, it is something you should try to buy if you can. Choosing between Scrapper and Blaster is a really difficult choice. Strictly class-wise, I would say the Scrapper has a better upside currently. And by that I mean in current PvP fights, you're more likely to face tacticians rather than bruisers. And I'd rather enrage a bruiser, which really isn't that great either, but it's still better than giving a tactician an extra turn. But then when you bring in the fact that blasters also give you that attack bonus, which I would say is the best hero bonus you can have, and then you add on the fact that it's a new class and it gives you a different team building options for this character, well, I think at the very least that evens this one out. And for me personally, I would choose the blaster version if I had to choose just one. However, in the interest of full disclosure, I'm probably going to use the Scrapper version along with Psylocke in PvP. So ultimately, I guess it depends on what you want to do with this character. If you know you want to use him in PvP and he'll be your main hero, plus you might be seeing a lot of tacticians, then go ahead and get the scrapper. Otherwise, go with the blaster. You know that hero bonus is going to always be there whether you use him or not. And that's kind of why I said if I only had one choice between the two, I would go with the blaster first. Alright, so hopefully after all of that I made your choice easier. Now let's get more into the battle, and they just used the neurotrope, so you're going to see that Boon Buster increase. Unfortunately our agent doesn't get it, but Archangel and Deadpool will. So let's just go ahead and use the improbability field on his turn. Next it's going to be their X-Force Wolverine's turn to attack, but first he is going to take some damage from Dots, and then he tries to stun our Deadpool. This unfortunately will give him an extra turn because he did attack a blaster, so he goes back at Deadpool with a Berserker Frenzy. Despite all of that, Deadpool remains at full health, but he unfortunately was stunned. So now let's see what their Psylocke does. First off, she takes dot damage as well, and then she uses mental coordination. So at least the AI didn't attack Deadpool first and gain an extra turn. Next, X-Force Archangel does have Fatal Blow on his level 9, and he grants it to other Uncanny X-Force members as well. I was pretty sure we could take the agent under 30%, and we do, so he's knocked out. Now on my agent's turn I could use the Atom Smasher and finish both enemies, but instead I'm just going to finish Wolverine and let Deadpool hit Psylocke with his level 9. I'm definitely hoping that 50-50 coin flip res doesn't kick in. And it doesn't, so Wolverine's knocked out, and now I can use Happy to See You on Psylocke. This damage probably won't be too insane, but it is a pretty cool attack. I love how he pulls out that huge gun, especially with all the crazy attachments on it. But anyways, moving on to our second battle, we're facing a Psylocke and Quicksilver team. They have pretty high defensive stats, a lot like us, so hopefully this one doesn't drag out too long. I have switched to using Phantom X for this team up, so we'll see how they do together. Phantom X also got an Uncanny X-Force passive, and what his does is causes the chance to dodge to increase for an Uncanny X-Force ally after being successfully attacked to a maximum of 70% and reduces to 20% upon a successful dodge. So yeah, that's exactly what this season needed, even more dodging. Since Disoriented is working so well and Phantom X has his E-ISO, I went with the Blackest Void. And Phantom X does try to go ahead and attack, and since the Rafshank missed, he does get to go through with it. So just for those who aren't familiar with that one, it's called the Duplicitous Empowered ISO Weight, and it causes Phantom X to perform a follow-up attack when enemies attack each other. Now I'm using his level 2 because I do have his Summon attack with an A-ISO on it. The Cooperative Augmented ISO Weight will cause a Summon attack to be a quick action. This will work on Phantom X's level 9. So he's actually quite a good character, and he does have 2 E-ISO slots. He's the only Uncanny X-Force member that got a new passive that can still have 2 Empowered ISO Weight. Because of the dodging and the ISO possibilities, I would actually put Phantom X pretty high up on the list. Alright, so after using the Light Fantastic, the enemy agent's going to use the Blackest Void. So that's pretty unfortunate, but still on Phantom X's turn, I'm going to use his level 9 as a quick action. So check this one out on Psylocke. It takes her out, and he still gets another turn. Since he is disoriented, I'm going to use his level 2, which is an AoE attack. Then on Deadpool's turn, I'm probably going to go with his level 1, and that's because I don't want to risk using his level 9. For my agent's turn, it's time for the Improbability Field, and then we'll go ahead and see what their agent does. Regardless, it should be his last turn of the battle. There's no way he's going to live through 3 more of our turns in a row. He does use an Improbability Field of his own, but now it's going to be time for Phantom X. What I think I'm going to do is just use our level 2 attack. It won't do that much damage, but I kind of want to see a Happy to See You, so we'll just go ahead and try to finish him with Deadpool. Alright, so here goes his level 2 AoE attack once again. And unfortunately it does miss. Now Uncanny X-Force Deadpool is going to use his level 9, Happy to See You. This doesn't look like it's going to do enough damage though. We leave him at just 4900 HP. Alright, so you know what? He's not even getting a chance at another turn. We're going to use an Atom Smasher and that will finish the battle. It also will finish the video, so I really hope you enjoyed watching, and remember there's 2 more to come. Next up will be X-Force Wolverine. Lastly, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck, and take care.